Guys, what's up? My name is James Zwadlow. Might be a bit hard to pronounce for me, so I'm going to stick with Zola. Also be a lot easier for you to remember, so I think win-win there. I originate from France, but I actually live in London at the moment, and I am a full-time motion designer at a production company called The Bank. Today we are going to be looking for MotionWorks as part of the A to Z of default After Effects plugins. We're on the B's, and we're going to be looking at the CCBurnFilm plugin. And yes, that is a B, not a C. So the Burn Film plugin does exactly what it says on the tin. We only have 3 parameters here to play with. The first one activates it. As you'll see here, it's under the stylized category, which is kind of strange as it's more of a transition, but I'm not going to argue with Adobe on that one. And so these bubbles kind of burn away the film and you get nice black fringing along the edges. And you can also change the center by dragging the crosshair here and just place it where you want, and the effect will basically work its way in a circular motion from wherever the crosshair is. So if you have it in the top left, it will work its way from top left to bottom right, and so on and so forth. And lastly, if you don't like the way the bubbles are appearing, you can just randomize them until you get the result that you're after. So that's cool, fairly simple. Let's see if we can apply this in a more practical sense. I'm going to create a new solid, Command or Control Y, depending on your computer platform. And today we are going to be animating this from 0 to 100. So I've hit the stopwatch and I've gone from 0 to 100. Lovely jubbly. Now we are going to be using this. I'm going to pre-compose this. I'll actually tell you why later on. I'm going to call this Burn Matte Comp, and making sure it's above our footage, I'm going to go to Alpha Matte. If you can't see these switches, just hit the toggle down here. Okay, so we now have the alpha information from the white solid, which we've just seen, being used to activate the transition, and the difference between this and applying the effect directly is we're not getting any black fringing. And also we can change this to Luma Matte and we get the soft fall off if that's the effect you're after. I'm going to stick with Alpha Matte, and we are going to take this one step further. So I'm going to close this comp and I'm going to go into another comp where I have at the moment 2 pieces of footage. Let me just hide this water comp so as not to confuse you. So I have one revealing the next. So the top footage is the stadium exit, and then we have the fields flipping. So this is exactly what was going on in the last comp, but what we're going to do here is I have a solid, which I'm going to solo this out and show you what it is. We have a fractal noise applied with a CC toner and then a glow to create this super bright solid, and this is placed between the bottom piece of footage but above the top one. And what I'm going to do here is duplicate our burn matte comp. So this is just a burn matte comp like I showed you in the previous composition, and making sure it's off, which it was. I am now going to select Alpha Matte for our water layer, which is the fractal one I've just shown you. And now, as you can see, we are getting some nice fringing, which is the result we're after. So this is an improvement already. I'm going to accentuate this by adding a curves to the burn matte comp, not to the water, and we're going to switch the channel to alpha and really increase the contrast here. And you can see this is updating as I do it. That's maybe a bit too contrasty, but now we're getting this really nice organic watery fringe, and as you can see, as this stretches more, we're getting lovely blue fringe, and I just have to hide and then unhide to show you the kind of effect, and I really think that looks a lot nicer. So in true Inception style, we're going to go one step further, and here we have what is basically text, and as you can see we have the dissipating, which I don't need to tell you how I've done that, but we're also getting some nice warping. And the beauty of this is that we are still doing this through our burn matte comp, which is here. So let's have a look how this is set up real quick. We have, I'm going to hide this effect for now, I'll explain that in a second. So we have the deep, which is just, if I have a look at my comps here, press shift to bring that up, it's just text and a few white solids feathered and masked out, so nothing complicated. Above, I'm going to unsolo that, we have our basically it's exactly the same fractal comp as I used in the old one for the ocean, minus the glow. And I've changed the overlay mode to add, and I have the opacity down to 21. And this is once again being revealed by our burnt comp, and we're using the alpha. And again, just above this I have color, CC toner, sorry, to adjust the color and add the color to the scene. So what is the difference between this and our previous comp? Well, I've added a displacement map. This lives in the distort menu, effect, distort. If I was in here, that would work. And so I've just gone and dragged this onto the ocean. I'm not going to do that again because I already have it here. If I apply this and change the displacement layer to our burn map comp, and this is why we pre-composed it earlier. If we had just a solid going from black to white, this would not work. You have to pre-compose it for the effect to pick up on what is happening actually. So that's why we pre-composed it earlier. And basically now the black and white information is being used to push the pixels around and create the displacement that you're seeing here as the water dissipates. And this looks natural because it's matching also the disappearing of the water. So that's the beauty of this, is it's all being driven by our simple burn map comp which we made earlier. So yeah, there you go. Some really simple tips to create water like transitions, I guess. And it's kind of ironic, with the name CCBurnFilm you wouldn't think you'd be able to create watery transitions, but that's certainly what I found it most useful for when I was playing around with it for this tutorial. So I hope you've learnt something from that. If you would like to follow me on any of the social network channels that we have, on Twitter I be twitter.com/Zola85, and you can find me there. I'm also on Vimeo, vimeo.com/Zola. I have lots of tutorials here, and a lot of them are really basic to get into programs, but I've also done some quite advanced ones as well, so please do check those out. And I keep these all together on my Zola-media.com site, which I am in the middle of updating at the moment, but it looks great, and it will do by the time you come and see it. It's just a case of me adding the post back in. So thanks for watching. For now, this is Zola for MotionWorks, and have fun with CCBurnFilm.